Welcome to the next lecture where we are going to talk about the options, the settings for our theme. First of all, I'm so proud to see you coming till here. Most people don't even spend the time to learn all these new things, but you're doing, and that's a win, right? So let's come back here to our documents. Here we are at theme settings. I have explained a little about it. We're going to talk about logo, fonts, header, footer, colors, layouts, blog, and content as we have it in here. Upload the logo, customize fonts, header, footer, and so on, right? We'll get to each of them separately in a separate lecture and talk about them, learn and practice. But before we get there, there are two important notes I want you to know about it before we get to the part where we talk about logo, because it will have some influence over it. So the first note is about images, compressing the images, okay? So it is very important because normally when you want to use an image, the size can be a lot to increase the quality, but when you compress the image using some tools that we are going to take a look right now, when you compress the image, you can decrease the size to a very minimum number possible, but keep the quality as high as possible also. Why I'm saying this is very important? Because if you don't compress your images, your site will get heavier and heavier every single day as you work on it, and before you know it, when you want to load your homepage, it took 20 seconds, right? Why? One of the reasons is because your user, the visitor that comes to your website, they have to load all of these images that are very heavy. So here there is a tool named TinyPNG. So what does TinyPNG do? TinyPNG uses a smart lossy compression techniques to reduce the file size of your PNG or JPEG file, as you can see in the image here. For example, the original image here was this is just an example, 57 kilobyte, but after compressing it became 15 kilobyte. Now let's test it together. So you can either click here on TinyPNG link or click here to visit TinyPNG. This is their website, right? So let's just find an image. For example, coffee image, right? I'm just searching for something in Google, and here we have this image, and I'm going to save this image into my downloads, right? So the image was downloaded. Let me just come here to download section. All right, here I am. Let me bring it here so you can see it as well. I'm just gonna come down here. Let's go to TinyPNG, and I'm just gonna drag and drop this image here, okay? Now the image size, normally it was 80 kilobyte. Now it is 52 kilobyte, right? 30%, 35% decrease. Now, I have done this a lot. Sometimes it depends on the type of your image, on the elements that exist inside your image. Then you can click here and download it. And according to all of these elements, the number, for example, I had 80%, 90% decrease in the sizes as well, all right? So this was the important note number one. Important note number two. Now you saw here, I came on Google and I wrote down coffee image, and these images came. Why do you think it is? Why do you think it appeared here? One of the reasons is because the person who used it on their website, who used this image on their website, they either use one of these names inside the name of the image. For example, either coffee or image, right? This is very effective to improve your website, to bring your images, your media to the search engine, to the, for example, Google image search engine. So every time that you want to upload an image on your website, you have to make sure about the name, if it is connected to your website, if it has the right keywords, it is called. I talked about it a little. You can come here and read more about it. The keywords that is connected to your business, it's connected to your product, and so on. There is also another thing when you want to upload an image. I will tell you what is that is also effective on search engines. We'll get to it, but before you upload any image on your website, just change the name, add some keywords, add some names that is connected to your business and your website and your web page, right? So that was the two important notes before we get to the logo section. All right, so if you have any question regarding these topics, contact me. Spend some time, play with TinyPNG, upload some images there, and see up to how many % you can decrease them and shrink the size. All right, so that was all for this part, and I will see you in the next lecture. All right, welcome to the next part where we are going to talk about setting up the logos for our website. The fun begins. So here we are in our documents after the important notes. The next thing is the logo. So how we are going to upload the logo, we have to go to our appearance, the options for our theme, and then upload the logo. So let's, let me close this one. Right, so here I'm going to click on upload logo. And we come to a page where later we will visit it a lot from another place. But anyway, this is the settings. Here we have logo, select the logo, then we have site title. You remember we went to the setting of our website and changed it. The setting exists also here, and the tagline, some short 4 or 5 words description about our website. What is it about, right? So we are learning WordPress. Okay, can be tagline. Then we can have here at the top, you see this is the name of our website and this is the tagline. So we can, for example, remove turn off the show site title, show site tagline, and now we have only title, and now we have nothing, right? And then we have the type of the display. You want the logo, and in front of it you want the name and the tagline. The other side, the first comes the title and the tagline, then the logo above it, and so on. Then the logo size, and we have another thing which is called icon. So let's get into these and see what changes it's going to create. So here on my website and the documents, I have prepared 2 images for you to make your work easier. Here we have the logo. I just searched on Google and found a nice logo and put it here. And then I wrote down company brand. You can change, you see this is an image, okay? All you have to do is to right click on it and save images and save it on your computer. The same goes for this one. Okay, so you have downloaded, these are PNG. Now the difference, if you don't know the difference between PNG and JPG, let's come here, where were we? Downloads, and here we are. Let me just bring the other image of coffee we had here. I removed it or I moved it. Okay, I think I removed it. So I'm gonna just bring another image from our, okay, we have here image. Let's save this one. So as you can see here, let me come down. As you can see here, let me just zoom in a little bit. All right, so this is written, this is the name of the logo, whatever it is, and .png, but this one, this is the name of the image, .jpg, right? The difference is that on PNG, you can have transparent places, okay? Here on JPG, you don't have this ability, but here on PNG, there are some places, for example, here, only the logo is visible. The rest of it is transparent, all right? So this is the difference. So let me remove this one. We don't need it. I'm going to keep these two. And here we are. So all we have to do, so according to your need, you can just use this file here and then replace it with your own, put your own logo above it and write down the name of your company. This is up to you. Okay. So come here, select logo. And here you can drag and drop. So let's do that. Here we are. And I'm gonna just drag and drop this one right here. Okay. Don't know why it's two. I'm gonna delete one of them. Okay. So here we have, this is the name of your file. I told you before you upload, change the name. Okay. You can do it here. This is the company logo, right? Now, I told you that there is another thing that can affect on search engines and show your images there, and that is the alt text. Okay, so whatever you write here, whatever keyword you use here, it's gonna have effect. So I'm gonna just use the title, copy and paste it. Okay, this is the easiest way. You can have the same name for your file and the same name for your alt text. Now this alt text, again, I'm saying, will affect on search engines, will help you to will help search engines to find your images from your website and show it there to people and users who want to use it. Anyway, you don't see it. There is a button under my image here. You cannot move this, right? Anyway, I have selected this image, and under it there is a select option. Then it will go to crop image. I don't want to. You can skip it. I'm gonna click on skip. All right, so as you can see, it appeared here at the top. Now, I have put the names. I usually do this. I put the name and whatever I want in front of my logo for here. If you don't want to do that, you can just upload the logo and show your website title and your tagline. All right, so this is the first item. Now, let's come down here. You see there's another icon that we can come and select. So now it's time for the second item on here, this one. And in a moment, I will show you what is this about. All right, so this is the side icon. I'm gonna drag and drop it here. I'm gonna just write alt text. Now remember, this is just an example. That is why I write site icon. You can write, for example, my website is Puya IT. I can write Puya IT site icon, for example. Okay. So that's up to you. You have to write the right name. This is just an example. I'm going to click on select and skip cropping. Now you see, this is the icon for your website, which appears at the top. If you pay attention, the icon at the top of our website has changed. All right. So the logo part is mainly for editing for these two items. And when you're done, don't forget to click on publish. Otherwise, the changes won't happen. So almost that was all about changing the logo. If you faced any problems along the way, for example, if you uploaded your logo but it didn't appear here, just publish or refresh the page and do it again. Sometimes you will face some kind of bugs like this, and if you do it again, it will work, right? Don't worry about it. You can also contact me, and you can also come here and read through these documents that I wrote for you, especially if you learn better from reading. All right, so that was all for this part. And the next part, we are going to take a look at fonts, and I'm going to give you some important tips about fonts and how to use them, right? So that was all, and let's go for the next lecture. All right, in the previous lecture, we talked about logo. Now in this part, we are going to take a look at fonts. So here we are. When you're done, just click on this cross sign at the top left side of your screen. You will go back to where you were before. So now click on customize fonts. And again, we will come to the same place, but in the fonts tab. All right, so here we are. So the first tab, as you can see, it is written font family. It's on default version. You can click on it and you can change the general font that you are using for your website. Now by default, I don't know what they are using, but there are many examples here. I in general use, for my website, use Roboto, since it's the default font for Google. When you go to Google and search for something, whatever you see there, the font is Roboto. So I usually use Roboto. That's up to you what theme you want to use, depending also on the type of your business. If it's a beauty website, you're gonna sell makeup, it's gonna be different. If it is electronic gadgets, it's gonna be different. Okay, so Roboto, and it's a Google font. It's here. Now there is a place, for example, you can come Google fonts. Okay, if you go to Google and search for Google fonts, Google they have a page here that they have a lot of different fonts here. They designed according to their standards. So you can come here, look through the fonts that they have here, and just remember the name and come back here. For example, this one, Cabin. If you like it, you can come back here. Where is it? You can come back here and search for the name and select it. All right. So here you will select the general family font family for your website, and under it, as you can see, we have H1, H2, H3 up to H6. So these are headlines. Okay, here, for example, this is a headline. When we go to the part that we want to create a web page, we want to create a post, we will learn more about these things. But in general, we have 6 types of headlines. And when the number increase, the size of them decrease. Okay, H1, it has the biggest size, then H2 will be a smaller, H3 will be a smaller, and so on. Okay, so from the structural point of view, it has some different effects on the search engines comparing to the normal text that you have. You should have, in every page, you should have at least one H1 and one H2 and H3. This is suggested. Later when we get to the SEO part, we'll talk more about it. So don't worry about that. So when you select on each of them, the setting will appear. And now you can change the font weight. You can, for example, put it on 100. We don't have any H1 here. I'm not sure what this is. It should be H2 or more. Let's just try changing H2 to see if, yeah, this is H2, right? Heading 2. And when I change the font weight, you see it gets thinner or bolder, right? Then we have font size. How much do we want it to be? Want to increase it or decrease it, or go back to the default. This is line height. Line height is the distance between this line of text with the other line. Letter spacing is the distance between each letters. Okay, you can change all that. And also, if you pay attention here, we have desktop icon, tablet, and mobile. So you can change the sizes. For example, you may say, all right, on tablet, it looks a little bit small. I want it to be bigger, right? Okay, this is too big. So this way you can optimize it for different devices as well, right? And at the top, you see these are the different type of capital letter and a small letter. Do you want all of your text to be a small letter? You have to select this one. This is the way that the beginning of each word is with capital or all capital. Okay, so these are the settings that exist here. You can come here and change them according to your needs. All right, so more or less that was all about the fonts. And on the next part, we are going to talk about header. But before we get there, there is something that I want to discuss with you. I'm not sure to do it now or later. All right, let's talk about it on the next lecture, since it's important and it's going to have very huge influence on you to create successful websites. Knowing this small amount of knowledge about what we are going to talk about in the next lecture can help you a lot in many different tasks along the way, right? So that was all for this lecture. If you're ready, let's jump into the next one. All right, so welcome to the next lecture where we are going to talk about some important stuff about, actually it's about coding, okay? I know that we have talked about it before that the way that we are going to create a website, you don't need to write any kind of codes, and that's true. But if you practice a little on some specific kind of coding and a specific language of coding, as you go forward, if you just have this small amount of knowledge about what we are going to talk about, it's going to fix a lot of problems for you later. And the number of things that you can do, it's going to be broader, right? So here we are. We were supposed to talk about header, and then we come down, we talk about footer. But before that, there is a part here that I have mentioned, and I want to talk about that, and that's coding, right? So what we are going to talk about, it's connected to HTML language and CSS language. Now, I'm not a professional in these fields. I have read about them, I have practiced them during the past couple of years, and the fact that I know some of the basic stuff about it, it helped me a lot in creating many different things. And in a moment when we get to the header part, I'm going to show you where it can help you. So if it is possible, here I have put the links for that will redirect you to a platform to learn more about HTML and CSS. Okay, so let's click on the first one, learn HTML paragraphs. So when you come here, this is w3school.com. They have a lot of information on HTML and CSS. It's very complete. Before that, let's come here and talk about tags. Let's see if they have the tags here. This is tables. Let me see if that's the one that I'm looking for. No, it's not. Basics. What do they have here? All right, this is useful. So let's come here. This is their editor, right? So when you want to have a website, a web page, okay? Every single web page that exists, it doesn't matter if you're using Wix, if you're using Squarespace, if you're using WordPress, if you're using coding, it doesn't matter. They have two main sections. The first section is, they didn't write it here, I'm gonna add it, it's here. Let me just make it this way. Head/head, okay? The first part is the header part, and the second part is body, right? You can remove this, but anyway, doesn't matter. Let me just remove it, not to make you confused. Okay, so there are two parts. Let me remove these as well. Any web page has the header, the head tag. This is different with the header that we have above the at the top of the screen. Okay, this is the head tag and the body tag. Now, inside the head tag, we have some general information about the website and the web page, okay? Like the meta description, what is this page about, what it should look like in the search engine, for example, and some more information about it, okay? On the body part, everything that you see in the screen from the top of the page header to the bottom of the page footer, everything that you see, it's inside the body here, right? It's inside the body. Now on HTML, there are different tags. Each of these, it's called tags, okay? Now when you open a tag, you must also close the tag, okay? And when you want to close a tag, you will use this as a slash sign, right? We have it here, head, and then a slash head, body, a slash body, right? So if I run this code, it will show nothing because we don't have anything inside the body section, right? Let me see if according to my stuff, okay, now that one is the next part. Okay, so I wanted to check not to miss anything. So in the body part, whatever we show, whatever we want to show on our web page, we should write it in the body part. Now, here is the thing that we need to talk about. Now, let's say I want to have a text here. I just mentioned the important ones which will be very useful for you and can make some changes along the way in the process. So in the body part, I'm going to write down, there is a tag which stands for paragraph, okay? And I'm gonna close it, okay? You see? And if between these I write something, I'm just gonna write a word. For example, course, okay? If I write anything, it will appear here, right? As you can see it. Now, it doesn't matter if the tag is here or it's in the same line, or if you have hundreds of spaces between them, it will look the same, all right? So don't worry about this stuff. So this is one of the tags that you should know. It's P, paragraph. The next one, we have seen it before, is H1, and again, H1, okay? H1 open, H1 close. If I run this, we should see a headline here. You see, course. Now let's try it again with other numbers, okay? Let's go for H2, H2, H3, H3, H4, H4, right? Run, you see? This is the difference between headlines, all right? So these are the tags. You don't need to know about body or head tag. We are not going to talk about it along the way. You are not going to use them along the way. The important thing for you is to know the tags, all right? And the important ones that you may need is paragraph, headline, and there's another one which is important. It's links, and the tag is A. A open, and let's close. All right, so now if I just copy and paste the tag, the name, the word course here, and I run it, we have the name here, but it's not clickable. As you can see, if I click on it, it won't jump into a page. That is because we need to add the link as well, right? So if in the first tag here, when the opener tag, I add the spaces and I come down and write down, if I'm not mistaken, it should be something like this, equal, and for now I'm not gonna write anything here. Here you have to put the URL. Let's just put this URL address, right? To make it work. Okay. So I'm gonna just write this. So whatever you want to call it, I don't know how it's pronounced, but if you write something like this, equal to, and inside the quotation, you write down the URL and run it. Now this is the link. And if I click on it, it should jump into my web page. As you can see, it starts to load my web page here, right? So the important tags you need to know about is A, H, H1 up to H6, which is headlines, and paragraphs, okay? That's all you need to know. Now, if you had more questions, you can come back here. You see here we have paragraphs. For example, paragraphs is P, the exact same thing that we talked about, right? You can come here, there are examples, there are practices. Then we have, okay, here we have colors. On the next lecture, we will talk about colors as well, right? So there are many things here. Now let's say you have a question, how you can find the answer. When you want to search on Google, for example, let's try this one. Let me open it on the next page. Okay, so forget about the top part here. You have body start and body closes. We have P1, the first paragraph, the second paragraph, and the fourth paragraph, okay? Now let's say, as you can see, even though that they wrote it in different lines, but here all of it is in the same line, okay? How you should go to the next line, and more important, how you should ask this question, okay? So you come to Google, write down, for example, going to the next line in HTML, okay? Just write whatever keyword comes to your mind according to your question. And if you come down, here it is, okay? We have the paragraph here, and there are some other information here. Here it is, the explanation exists here. I just searched for it, okay? Most of the time I even forget this stuff and I come in Google and search for it. If I add this tag here, it should jump into the next line, right? As I can see it here. So let's copy this tag, BR. Where is it? Here. And I'm gonna put it here. I'm not sure even if it's work, I don't remember. Right, it works. See, when you add this tag, let me see, this one has, okay. So I remember that it was only BR. Anyway, if you add this tag anywhere in the line, it will jump into the next line, okay? So if along the way you faced any questions like this, just simply come to Google and search for it, and you will find your answer very quickly, right? Because these things are very basic and the documents is out there. So again, I know it may sound a little bit complicated, but just come here, practice a little. It's fun, it's important, it will help you a lot. The only reason that I'm teaching you this stuff is because later you may need it, because there are some points along the way when you want to create a website that you want to do something, because you don't know this stuff, this simple, easy stuff, it's gonna be tough for you. You want to find the problems, you want to analyze a web page and find why this is not working, why here you have a bug. If you don't know these fundamental and basic stuff, you are going to have problems, all right? So that was all for the HTML part. On the next part, we are going to talk about the design and CSS. It may sound complicated. Don't worry, it's as easy as it was here. And if you have any question, don't forget to contact me. I am here for you. Don't think that you are alone and this is just virtual. I'll respond to all of your questions. And well, that was all. Let's go for the next lecture. All right, welcome to the next part where we are going to talk about CSS language and how we can make some changes in the design of paragraphs, headlines, and so on. Okay, so here we were in the previous lecture, and if you come back to the documents that we had here, I wrote down the part that you have to style your HTML. So let me close the pages that we opened before. All right, so here we are. As you can see here, we have 3 different texts with 3 different colors. Now, click on try it yourself, and let's see what is the difference between these 3 texts. So as you can see here, is it possible for me to make it bigger? Yeah, sorry about that, I could make it bigger, I didn't know what. Now it's very clear for you. All right, so we have the paragraph tag. Then we have, for example, this is an I am normal. Then we have paragraph tag. Again, it's written I am red, I am blue, and I am big, right? So the difference here, as you can see, there is a line of code which it's written style equal quotation, color, then 2 dots, it's red, semicolon, quotation, okay? So when you add something to a code, to a paragraph, to a tag, you can change the color of that, right? So now it is written red, okay? You can write the color code as well. For example, I'm gonna write down hashtag, for example, 55555, right? It's some kind of, oh, I have to run it. Is it 6? Yeah. So if I run it, you see it's some kind of gray. Let me make it more visible. 99999. Run. You see, it made it gray. So you can, instead of name of the color, you can write down the code. Brown, for example. You see, green. Run. You see, it will change. So it's not so complicated. All you have to remember and memorize, it's write down a style equal, then open and close quotation. Inside it, write down color, 2 dots, blue, and then semicolon. The semicolon, don't forget it, it's important. Okay. So on the next line, as you can see, there is no color here. It's font size. Okay. Font dash size, 2 dots, then 50 pixel, and semicolon. Now, again, the same way that we talked about it before in the previous lecture, you can search for these things. For example, how can I change a paragraph font weight, right? Okay, so let's do that. Changing text font weight HTML. Okay, so I just wrote down changing text font weight HTML. When you tag the HTML at the end of it, it will find the result that you want much faster. So here we have, you see, all you have to do is just to add this one. For example, font weight equal 2 dots 900. I'm just gonna copy this and come back here, and I'm going to add this to the blue, right? After semicolon, you can add this. Okay, the semicolon will separate the different styling features. Okay, so this one was about color, this one is about font weight. If I run it, now as you can see, it is bold. Now let's change the size, use this one as well. I'm gonna write down font dash size, 2 dots, for example, 70 px semicolon. Okay, run. Now you see, it's different. So by knowing this simple stuff about changing the design, you can fix these problems that you may face along the way. Yesterday, one of my students contacted me and asked me that all of my text on my website, on this web page, turned into orange and I don't know how to fix it. Okay, so if he knew about this, he could easily, it doesn't matter what was it about. For example, if he had, for example, 10 lines, as far as I remember, it was a paragraph, he could just come down and inside the text, inside the code there, write down, for example, color white, color black, okay? And he could fix it in a couple of seconds. That is why I'm telling you that this is important. Learn it a little, read more about it here. There are a lot of good topics. You don't need to know all of them. For example, the one about color, the one about links. Okay, let's come to the links and practice something here as well. So when you come to the link here, remember we talked about it. You have to write this word here, equal and quotation, the URL, and then here. Now here they added the URL. Now I want to show you something else. Okay, let me see if they have it here or not. Okay. All right. It doesn't matter. Let's go off to, for example, here. Try it yourself. So here, as you can see, we have a link, but first of all, I don't want the color to be blue. Second, I don't like the line under it, right? So what should I do about that? Okay. Here we have P, and inside the P, we have a link, right? They open A and then they closed it. So here is the link, and between the tags we have the text. So what we have to do, you can do it here. You can come to A tag, before or after the URL, you can start to style it. I'm going to go after it. So I'm going to add 2 space. I'm going to write down style equal quotation. Now, what I'm going to write? First of all, I'm going to change the color. So about the color, I'm going to write down color, 2 dots. I want it to be dark gray, right? So I'm going to write down hashtag, for example, 333, right? Run, and the color changed. Okay, that's good. Now I don't want the line under it. Now let's say I don't know how to remove it. I don't know the word to write there. What should I do? I should come here, remove line, line under the link HTML. Okay, so to remove the underline from the HTML link, you have to use text decoration. Okay, so I can open this page and read more about it. Also, the w3schools.com is here as well. I can open this one too. Let's take a look at these websites and see how we should remove it. So if you look around here, here it is, style, text decoration, 2 dots, non-semicolon. I'm just going to copy this, text dash decoration. Come back here, and where were we? Okay, here, semicolon, and I'm going to paste this, run. You see, the line is gone, as simple as that. So the mindset of searching, because there are a lot of tags that you may need along the way, a lot of changes that you may want to do on your website. And when you learn how to search for it, you can do anything that you want, right? So if you can spend some time, practice this stuff, you can come here, practice the coloring, the links, how to change it, and so on. All right. So this is important. Again, I'm saying it will help you as you go forward. If you face any question that you cannot find the answer yourself, first of all, try it yourself. Try to search for it. Try to see if you can find the answer on your own. Because when you search for it, first of all, you are improving yourself to finding answer. And this mindset is going to change everything for you as you go forward. Not only about creating a website, but in everything, every aspect of your life. If you learn how to find the solution for some specific problems, everything would be easier, right? And I'm saying this because sometimes I receive some questions from my students. Well, don't get me wrong. I like to receive questions. I like to help my students. But sometimes I receive some basic questions. And the thing is that every day I receive tens of different kind of questions from basic to advanced, all right? And it takes time for me to get to all of the questions and answer them. I receive questions on different platforms, on Instagram, Facebook, my own website, Udemy, right? And if I want to answer all of them, it takes some time for me, right? And some students come and ask me some very basic questions that if they just spend 10 seconds on Google and search for it, they can find their answers right at that moment, okay? So this is the main reason that I'm telling you this. So try to practice. If you face any problem, search for it. If you didn't find the answer, come and ask me. I am here for you, right? So that was all for this part. And on the next lecture, we are going to start learning more about header and after that, footer. So if you're ready, let's go for the next lecture.